Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh everyone. Welcome back to the ASI weekly Q&A with Shaykh Akram Nadwi on every Thursday at 6 p.m. GMT. Before we begin, a brief announcement. As some of you might know, we will be hosting a new 2-day short course titled Tadabbur in Pursuit of the Quran on the 5th of March and 12th of March, which will aim to explore the meaning and methodology of contemplating the Quran ahead of Ramadan, delivered by none other than our esteemed Shaykh Akram Nadwi. Details are on the ASI website, and I'll post a link for sign up in the comments as well. So just on this, tomorrow is the last day for the early bird discount, so do sign up, inshallah. Just thought I'd flag that. And with that, let's begin, inshallah. So the first question that we have today, Shaykh, is someone says, what do I tell my feminist friend who feels the Quran doesn't speak to her? She can't relate to it.
Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The one thing that people have to understand actually is that when Quran says it is book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then our responsibility is to find out whether it is book of Allah or not. If it is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it has been sent to the messenger, and the messenger has conveyed the message properly, then the duty of the all human being, not only the believers, duty of the all human being is to make effort to understand and to make their positions about every matter in the world in the light of the book, because it's guided. Because nobody knows what we are, who we are, how we should behave more than God himself, because he's the one who created us, and he's the one who will make people to enter to paradise or hellfire. So this is very important thing to understand. The Quran should be understood from the angle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what he wants to teach us. It's not that what we want to learn from the Quran. This is never right, because if this is how you do, so then basically you never can relate yourself to anything. Because if you live in UK and you want to understand the laws of this country, it will not be all the time satisfying you. There are many things will be not right from your angle, from your perspective. If you say Indian laws, they can't make everybody happy. Go anywhere in the world, nothing can make everybody. Timetables of the aeroplanes, timetables of the trains, they can't make everybody happy. Actually, you can't make everybody happy. Just think really that in how your brothers, how your sisters, how your family feels about you. Is everybody happy? Do you exactly do what everybody wants from you? Nobody can do. So the criteria should not be that the Quran teaches us what I want, because if Quran teaches what everybody wants, it will be many volumes, huge book. Men want something else, women want something else, white people want something else, black people want something else, Indian wants from the Quran something else, people of this century want something else, people in the past wanted something else. If this what Quran is really to respond to what people want, then never can be a book of guidance. The Quran teaches you what God wants. So that's what we need to understand. But at the same time, since we know that Allah is the just, he never does something injustice. So he has created the men and women, so he must be just and fair to everybody. Yes, that's important to understand. The God is merciful, he is kind, he is just, he never can injustice. So now when you read the Quran, find out really, is there any verse of the Quran which teaches injustice? We say don't do justice to the women. We say don't be fair to the women. Doesn't directly. All the time keeps saying be fair. Quran keeps saying, fear Allah about the women. Quran always say justice is better. Quran always say men should be kind over the women. Quran always makes like that. Quran actually basically all the responsibilities put on the men. Women actually have very light responsibility in the Quran. So all the time you can say the Prophet Sallallahu the messenger. The people read the Quran from the angle of Allah, and they know really he is all merciful and just. The women should be the first to be happy. I remember once I read to one of the Christian priests, a long time ago. Actually, he wrote a book. He said, if I didn't know that this book is from God revealed to Muhammad, I would thought this book is written by a woman. because all the time defending the women, their rights, and this is how the book is. If you look in the Quran, problem is many Muslim women are feminist. Their understanding of the Quran not from the Quran, their understanding of the Quran from the Muslim society. So they don't take knowledge from Muslim society, because Muslim society has been corrupted. There have been many wrong ideas in Muslim society. Read the Quran. Has your friend read the Quran? Ask her to read the Quran from beginning to the end, and then make sense of the Quran. You will be happy because it is your book. But when you take ideas of the Quran from the people, they misinterpret. So go to the Quran directly, inshallah.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question is, Sheikh, where can I learn Islamic finance from?
The thing is that, Islamic finance, if you want to learn as it is, then the source of that is the Quran itself. There are many verses about that. And then the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and they are put very nicely in right chapters in Bukhari, Muslim, and all those books, where the book of buying and selling, all the thing about interest, usually you can learn so many things about that. And also you can read the people in the past, they wrote about money in Islam, like Kitabul Amwal by the people, of the past, they wrote. If you read those things, then you will be fine. But if you read people who are modern, then what actually happening is they take ideas from the West and they just put Islamic title there, Islamic names. It's the same thing, Western capitalism. Islamic finance basically now is just Western capitalism. Nothing more than that. So Islam didn't come to support capitalism and support the ideas of the banking and the way the money is accumulated in the hands of some people. Islam never came. Actually, Islam supports weaker people, poor people of the society, so in order they get some money. But the way Islamic finance now is, it supports rich people. It is in the interest of the rich people. So if you want to understand Islam as it is, read the book of Allah, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and the books written in the past by the earlier scholars.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question is by Fariha, who asks, how to do dhikr with full khushu and concentration. I do my tasbih daily, but I can't completely focus on my dhikr.
Focusing is effort. You have to make effort, and then your mind goes somewhere else, then bring it back. That was focusing, like you focus on many things in this world, and how important something is, that how will be your focus. So you have to understand the importance of the matter. If, for example, if I walk on a path which is full of the thorns and dangers, then you'll be very cautious all the time, thinking. So it depends really how your mind is. The mind only becomes attentive when people force it. So you have to force it. It's not a matter of 1 day or 2 days. It's all the time forcing, thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wherever, always think really, all the favors are from Him, all the things that I do just because of power. If He does not help, nothing can happen. Everything I do, He knows. So if you, keep in mind Allah's kindness, Allah's love, Allah's power, and Allah's knowledge, inshallah, attention will be there.
Ahsanallahu ilayka, Sheikh. The next question is, how far down does the headscarf have to go? Is it just the neck area or up to the waist?
The scarf basically is covering the head, and then what is left cover the chest. Because the people have button. That what should be not up to the waist or something. Just this is enough. And then when you go outside, put on a jilbab. Meaning jilbab is covering your qamis. When you go outside, it should cover that. That's all. So you don't need to have a very long scarf, but it should cover your head and also your neck or your chest.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question is by Fuad, who said, why were the Caliphs Mu'awiyah and his son Yazeed controversial and mostly disliked figures?
It is a really long history. I don't think I'll be able to explain to you so much, because when politics comes, the hatred comes, rivalry comes, and people have problem. Mu'awiyah radiallahu anhu, he really remained Khalifa and Amir al-Mu'minin for 20 years, undisputed, because Hassan ibn Ali, the son of Ali, he surrendered and he gave his right to Mu'awiyah. So he became Khalifa on whom everybody agreed. He was not a problem really. And then his son Yazid became Khalifa. And in his time, Hussein radiallahu anhu was killed, became Shaheed. And that is actually, no doubt, a very bad thing that happened in his time. Since then, Muslims divided and many groups and Shia and this and that. And many stories have been invented. The long history. So certainly, some people hate, but some people love Mu'awiyah. But we people are Ahlus Sunnah Jama'ah. We are in between. We think he's a Sahabi, so we respect him. But in the battle between him and Ali, we believe that Ali was more right. He was not right. But still, we don't curse him because he did ijtihad and still he'll get a reward. But Yazid certainly was wrong. And Hussein ibn Ali was right. We support him. May Allah be pleased with him. But this is history. We don't need to discuss so much because there's no benefit in that. So the best thing is to ignore that, because whenever you say something, somebody will oppose you. To unnecessarily fighting, an argument will start.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. Another question by Fuad is that what are the rulings on lowering one's gaze? What if my teacher is a woman?
People don't understand. It is not to lower your gaze really. It is to control, press it. Meaning is like when a man sees a woman, so if he gets a desire, he should not turn his eyes on the place of the beauty, on the attraction. Where some people can be attracted to women's face, some people can be attracted to the back or bottom or just anything. So whatever attracts you, you have to control your eye and don't turn it again. That's what meaning. But if some people have, don't feel anything, that's fine. They don't need to press. And your teachers, generally, you have to read. So you have to look at their face. You have to understand what they say. Unless you really feel a desire for her, then it's dangerous. Then you have to be very careful about this matter. But if there's no desire and your eyes don't turn to the place of beauty, rather than just you want to understand, learn, that's fine. The problem is actually this, that if people turn their eye to the places which attracts them, then it will be haram, unlawful. They have to turn from there. If there's no attraction and people don't enjoy that, don't feel any desire, then there's no harm to talk normally.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question is, Salam, Sheikh, how often we should think we're sinful, that's why Allah doesn't give what we pray for and we have to wait longer. Is it correct to think like this?
No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always gives, this is not right to say, yeah, certainly we have to think that we don't worship him enough. And even when we worship him, we do mistakes. So that's very good. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves people when they are humble. So never become arrogant, never think you have done enough. Because this is dangerous. We never can do enough really. We even cannot thank him for the eye that he has given us, for the mind that he has given us, for iman that he has given us. We can't thank him for anything. So keep doing ibadah, keep thinking that we are sinful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will elevate. But dua he accepts from anybody, even he accepts from kafir. He said in the Quran that kuffar, when they are in danger, they ask me, I listen to them. And then after that, they again forget me. So even unbelievers, he listens. He's a Rabb. He listens to everybody. So don't worry. And sometimes the way he accepts, you don't understand. But later on, you'll find that he accepted your dua, but you were not aware of that. So he knows how to accept.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. The next question is by Osama, who asks, what is the wisdom behind the repetition of many stories in the Quran? For example, the story of Musa alayhi salam, or the people of Nuh alayhi salam, Ad and Thamud, which are repeated numerous times across the Quran.
Yeah, but I taught so many courses on this. I think you should go, because if I keep seeing all those things, and also I wrote something about that. So the stories which are repeated in the Quran, they are for a purpose, in that surah. And the way Quran repeats, you don't feel repeated. So it can connect very, very nicely. The people who read this, they never can easily find out. So read the Quran, you will find that in that place why it is repeated. Now Khadir has announced the course about Tadabbur Al-Qur'an. So if you come to that course, it will help you to understand really how the Quran does, how Quran narrates the story, and how to read, contemplate, and go deeper. Because this thing I can't, because it needs example. So when example is there, I'll tell you that why it is not repeated. It always comes for a purpose in that place.
Jazakallahu khairan, Shaykh. The next question is by Omar, who asks, is the hadith about getting reward of Hajj and Umrah by sitting after Fajr and praying 2 rak'ah after sunrise reliable?
No, it is not actually. It's a very weak. This actually the truth is it is not about. People think there is a salat with the name of Ishraq. So people think if after Fajr you remain in your place, sunrise enough, like 10-20 minutes after sunrise, then you pray 2 rak'ah, so you get reward of Hajj and Umrah, and you pray 2 more rak'ah, then all your needs during the day are accepted. There are people think. First, actually, there's no sunnah to sit after the Fajr. If you read the books of Bukhari and Muslim, all the sound hadith, they said the people of the after Fajr used to leave the masjid. And Aisha radiallahu anha said that women used to leave and men could not recognize them. The men and women used to live together and they're passing together, but nobody knows who is who because it was so dark. If they had to stay after Fajr, then everybody knew everybody. So, and the companions used to have work, so many things to do. So nobody used to sit in the masjid except maybe a few people, but generally it was not something sunnah that the Prophet taught people. What more likely is if there is a reward, something like that, that is about the Fajr prayer. If people pray Fajr prayer on the time and the Sunnah also in the Jama'ah, then they get reward of like Hajj Umrah and all the needs during the daytime is fulfilled. But that the Fajr prayer is the one which has so much reward, not anything else. Nafil never can have reward more than the Fard. So first thing is there's no prayer with the name of Ishraq in Islam. Does not exist. People have invented this name. The only thing that a hadith could refer it is actually about Fajr prayer. And also, no, the companions never used to sit after Fajr. Maybe few people sometime, but that's not their habit. Habit was to leave the masjid, go and work, do their work in the field. If they're doing jihad, in the jihad. If they're traveling, they are traveling. They're doing housework. It's not the people just sit after the Fajr until sunrise. They have their own, so many things to do in their life.
Jazakallahu khairan, Shaykh. The next question is by Naseba, who asks, is cochineal / carmine halal? This is an ingredient that is made from the shells of beetles, and it's a food coloring that gives a red color in cakes and
From an animal? What do you mean?
Yeah, it's made from beetles, like bugs, like it's a type of bug, and it's made from them. It's a food coloring.
Yeah, but the thing is, we have to understand really that how it will be done by. Sometimes they use some of those things and then they make a chemical processing, so it is lost in that. We don't see anything like that, and nothing is there. So they really fine. There's no harm in it, but if there's no chemical processing or something is still there, some traces are there. I don't know really this thing. So you have to ask someone who knows. Is this how they make it? If they make it properly with the chemical processing and there's no trace of anything, it is completely changed. Yeah, then it's halal.
Okay, Jazakallahu khairan, Shaykh. The next question is by Sabrina, who says, is doing yoga and breathing meditation allowed in Islam if we don't do any other religious rituals in it?
No, so sometimes people don't share to it as something ritual. The best thing, there's so many exercises in the world. I don't understand why you need to do just something like yoga, play football or just do jogging, go to the gym. There's so many things you can do really. And if you want to concentrate, you have the prayer, the best one. Then no more concentration in the world better than the prayer, and also reading the Quran. They are so helpful. If you just that's what you want, they're the best thing. But for exercise, there are so many exercises. Learn from the people. Go to the gym or you can do jogging and so many things you can do really in the life. So it is not the only one more thing that people have to ask about.
Okay, Jazakallahu khairan, Shaykh. The next question is by Fatiha, who says, Salam ya Shaykh. How can we practice and understand better the last verse from Surat al-Duha? وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. And can we understand it separately from the rest of the verse so that we can practice it according to our situation?
Ya Amma بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ is a reminder of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam thought, the revelation, he missed the revelation for for number of days, which was not usual for him. So he was thinking maybe his Lord became upset with him, angry with him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded him, no, how much, remember, how can be Allah? So Allah is the one who gives you so much. Alam yajidka yatiman fa'awa, wa wajadaka dhalan fahada, wa wajadaka a'ilan fa'aghna. So he gave you all that. And then he mentions فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. So you were yatim and Allah looked after you, so now you don't oppress yatim. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. And you were poor and needy and Allah gave you. So, don't wrong the begging people. And then Quran says, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. It refers to the verse, وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. You did not know the path and Allah guided you. So this is the thing that you got the guide. The guidance is the favor. Allah keeps reminding, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says also in Surat Al-Fath, إِنَّا فَتَحْنَا لَكَ فَتْحًا مُبِينًا لِيَغْفِرْ لَكَ اللَّهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِكَ وَيُتِمَّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ. So this Tamam Ni'mah is actually this guidance, perfection of the religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave. So that should be taught to the people. Remember that people should mention, really teach people, call other people to the guidance, and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. That's what the meaning is. بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Meaning is that you should call people. You got the ni'mah of guidance to call other people for the guidance, and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this guidance.
Jazakallahu khairan, Shaykh. The next question is, can we send bodies back home for burial as the procedure is very invasive?
According to some people you can do, but in Hanafi madhab it is makruh, and I think it is right. If people, wherever people die, they should be buried there. And Quran says, "Al-ardu lillah," or the land is land of Allah. Allah is the one who owns. Wherever you buried with Allah, nobody rules the grave. British rule, Indian rule, of Eastern or Western rule, they're all for the people who live on the face of the earth. The people are buried there. They are not under rule of these people. They are ruled directly by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I don't understand why people want their bodies to be moved from one place to other place. There's so many problems really people have said, and so much expenses. Give that money for charity, and a poor person, you get reward. And the person who died, he will get some reward. So there's no need for that actually. People should be buried as soon as they die. They die, and make all the procedures, do janaza and bury them. That is the teaching of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that should be done. There's no need to send a body from one place to other place.
Jazakallahu khairan, Shaykh. The next question is by Imran, who asks, what are the things that we can do for dead relatives? How come we can do Hajj and Umrah for them, but not fast or pray for them?
You can do Hajj and Umrah for them. You can spend money. You can give charity for them. You can make dua for them. So you don't do those things which are done by the body. Like, you can't fast for them. You can't do salah for them. Like, for example, if somebody has a debt, you can pay his debt. By somebody hungry, you can't eat on his behalf. If somebody is naked, you can't wear clothes on his behalf. So things which belong to the human body, nobody can do on somebody's behalf. But what belongs to the money, that you can do. So Hajj Umrah, because you spend money, so you can do on other people's behalf. Sadaqah you can do because it's money. Except dua. Dua can be done all the time anyway. So, but what is physically done, that you cannot do. You can't fast, you can't do salah on the behalf of someone.
Jazakallahu khairan, Shaykh. I've got a private question that's come in, and the question is, Shaykh, how do I, as a layman who has no background or knowledge of Islam, navigate differences of opinion?
So you can't do, because if you don't know, like for example, how a layman can navigate all the difference of medical treatment, or you want to build a house, engineering, you can't do. You have to find an expert who can help you. So similarly, if you're a layman, you did not study Islam, so you can't do. You even know really what is right, what wrong, what is preferred opinion, what is not preferred opinion. You have to rely on someone or get knowledge. Make effort to understand that. Because if you don't know the Quran, you don't know the Sunnah, don't understand how you're going to prefer one thing over the other. If 3-4 people dispute, which one you're going to prefer? You have no idea. you will do mistakes in this matter. The best thing is when you don't know, ask someone who knows. That the Quran says that refer to the people who have the knowledge. So, and that the Prophet ﷺ also said, if people don't know, they should ask the one who knows.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. The next question is by Yusuf, who says, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Can you advise on the contribution of Islamic philosophy on the development of Islamic education? Are there any good starting points, in your opinion, to read into this topic?
You know what they mean by Islamic philosophy actually is the Greek philosophy, which was adopted by Muslims and developed by Muslims. So if they mean that, so that actually is something different, and that is has some good impact, some negative impact on Islamic science. But if you mean philosophy, something a rational understanding of the things, and a process of processing information by the mind. To that, a philosophy which is actually in every nation, and best Islamic philosophy is usul al-fiqh. The Muslims have developed usul al-fiqh. That actually is one of the best pure Islamic philosophy. How to understand them, how to find out the reality, the truth. So that should we study. Like we study the book of Imam Shafi'i, Al-Risala, and the books of the people who wrote on usul al-fiqh. But if you mean Greek philosophy developed by Muslims, and then you need to read books of Ibn Sina. He's the expert master, and then Ghazali has summarized some of those books. You can read him, but you also should read the people who refuted them. Like Ghazali himself wrote a book, Tahafut al-Falasifa. Ibn Taymiyyah wrote Ar-Rad al-Mantaqiyin, and he also wrote a book about the philosophers and their wrong ideas. So Darut Ta'arub al-Aql wal-Naql. Then there are many works have been done. People should read. But if you need pure Islamic philosophy, then Usul al-Fiqh, a book of Al-Muwafaqat by Shatibi, or Hujjat al-Baligha by Waliullah Dehlvi. These are much more pure Islamic philosophy.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. The next question is by Shahriyar, who asks, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Do you recommend any particular tafsir in Arabic or English that can help in tadabbur on ayat as someone at a beginner/intermediate stage in Quranic studies?
Yeah, this is actually a very important question. People have to make effort to understand the book directly. May go there, and when you have questions, then you refer to the book of Tafseer. So that important. But some books are good in this matter. Like in the later people, like Maulana Farahi's books. He does Tadabbur all the time. You can find many parts of Tadabbur in the writings of Sayyid al-Shahid. You also can find Tadabbur Al-Qur'an by Amin Hassan Islahi. Yeah, and also there are many authors these days. Sometimes they write. But the best thing is in your own effort to understand the Quran, go deeply. But I'm going to teach this course for 2 days. So come there, I'll explain, the ideas and how to develop the mind to go in Quran deeply, inshallah.
Inshallah. The next question is by Yusuf, who has asked, is it possible to shed light on the difference between ittiba and taqlid in the context of Islamic studies?
Yeah, ittiba means to follow someone knowingly. So for example, like I said to you, follow me, and I'm going somewhere. So you follow me, but with your open eyes. Sometimes I do mistakes. You say, no, not this way. Or the traffic coming, something else is coming. Or there is a car coming. Because you are open your eyes. You follow me, but still you are aware of what is happening. So Quran commands people to do ittiba. So like your child, when you correct him, sometimes he says, no, this is not right. He has his own mind and thinking. So ittiba is when people follow someone knowingly, understanding what he does. Taqlid is basically from qilada, like animals. When you carry the animals don't have any will. You just make them to go where they can't say yes or no. So taqlid is basically following someone blindly like animals. So that's not Islamic. People will be questioned the day of judgment. Ittiba is the one which Quran has commanded the prophets, messengers, and all the people. They should do ittiba. Ittiba is follow someone knowingly. You understand. Actually, if you don't understand, ask question. The people who do taqlid, they don't ask any question. They just follow blindly. Even they don't understand. Taqlid is the one which is actually wrong. Ittiba is the one which is right.
All right, Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. The last question for today is asked by Akbar, who said, Salam Sheikh, I understand that jinn questions have a lack of relevance, but how come an entire surah was revealed about them? What's the purpose when jinn don't affect us one bit?
No, the surah was revealed for other purpose. The purpose was, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants that you see, you got a messenger from your own people, your own, family, and he teaches in your language. He's like you, and you don't get him. And there are people, the jinn, they are not even human being. They pass by the prophet, and the prophet did not go to see them. And when they heard the Quran, they were so much impressed and they accepted Islam. So it is just teaching Quraysh that you see that these jinn are much better than you. Quran did not come to them. The Prophet did not mean them. The Prophet never traveled to them. The Prophet does not know the language. The Prophet not from among them. Still they accepted or respected it. So you should be the first one. That's why that surah has been revealed, to encourage Quraysh that you should be the first to understand this book and you should be happy.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. That's all for today, unfortunately. If your question hasn't been answered, please remember it and perhaps we can aim to answer it next week. Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh, for your time, and Jazakallahu khairan, everyone, for joining. And we'll be back next week, Thursday at 6 p.m. GMT, as always. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.